Hey there. So it's our first team call of March. March is going to be a big month. Obviously, we have the release of 22 Minute Hardcore, which we'll talk about. And we also are going on our big Beachbody cruise. We basically took over an entire Royal Caribbean ship for all of us coaches that earned it, that also got their names off the wait list, and a spouse or significant other, or I'm personally bringing one of my best friends, and families. We're taking over this entire cruise ship. So doing that, and then also the Challenge Group app has been unrolled to all of Beachbody coaches yet. If you haven't tried this out, I strongly encourage you to go look at it, play with it, do your next challenge group with it, because as a coach, it's a really simple way for your customers and clients and new coaches to see how we run things. You'll be able to see when they drink their Shakeology. You're able to see if they worked out. You also can plan posts really easily. In addition to, you see their before measurements and pictures associated right with their profile. So you don't have to search around on Facebook. And also, as an added bonus, Facebook is really distracting. And so, sometimes people can jump on and then get lost. They lose files, they lose really the direction of why we want these challenge groups to be supportive and awesome, is to get rid of a lot of the clutter, to make it focused, an easy place to go to check in and for you to be able to help them. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention is I have another, basically, it's going to be mostly for new coaches, but it's also for people who aren't sure what to post or how to start sharing about their business. And it will be done using the Challenge Tracker app. Okay, so it'll be similar to Coach Basics. It starts March 7th, so it starts on Monday. I'll get that opened up sometime soon, obviously before Monday. And it'll be focusing on the vitals, but not in a vital behavior kind of way, in the sense where I'll be able to see if you got your workout and your Shakeology. That's one vital behavior. And then we'll talk about some form of personal development. Obviously, I prefer if you're reading. I think reading is where we get the most growth as coaches versus just listening to videos or things like that. And then the last vital behavior is inviting. But I won't be asking for who you're inviting. This is more going to be learning and teaching about attraction marketing. This is how I've built my business, and this is something that I think makes it so easy, is to have people come to you instead of you having to feel like you're reaching out to all these different people to get March 7th, Kelly. So Monday. Instead of feeling like you're having to reach out to all these different people, you make some really great quality posts that get engagement, and then that's how you build your list. It's from the people watching you, looking at you, corresponding with you, and those are the people you reach out to. So whether you've been a coach for 2 years and you've been on this ride with me, or you just started yesterday, this is a group for you. And it's not just for my PS coaches, it's for my entire downline. And if you are interested in that, I'll post something in Fierce Focus and in Fierce Focus Tribe for you to drop your email so I can get you in the group. Okay? So there's that. Today, we are going to be talking about Facebook ads. Or should we start with 22-minute hardcore? Let's do 22-minute hardcore really quick, just because I feel like Facebook ads can be something that's super overwhelming to people, but at the end of the day, it's so simple. So let's start with 22-minute hardcore, and we'll move from there. Okay. Of course, now I can't get Excel to get smaller so I can see where all of my files are. There it is. Okay. So I'm not sure if any of you follow Sandy Kurkowski, but that's really where we're going to be building off of for this training today. But let's start with 22-minute hardcore really quick. How many of you, by a show of hands, either in the chat, or I think you can click on here hand, how many of you have done a post about 22-minute hardcore on your page? Okay, so I see one. Sarah, good work on using your raised hand. 1, 2, keep your hand up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of 17. Okay, so great batting average, not great for your business to only have 50% of us doing some form of a post about it. Okay, so for those of you that did, congrats and way to go. Obviously, talking about our new programs and being able to share about it just by using other test participants' pictures and their story is such a great way to get people to be like, oh, wait, maybe that is something I want to try. Just like when the 21-day fix came out, none of us had ever done it. You know, it was this brand new program, this brand new thing, but people, if you just start posting about really the simplicity of what it is, then that's what gets people interested. And then, of course, as I just mentioned, anyone who likes or comments on that, that's how you start building your contact list, you know, with the 22-minute hardcore as the thing about it. And you're going to start forming. You're not going to reach out right away and say, oh my gosh, are you ready to buy? But you are going to then talk about when your next challenge group is, and, you know, doing other transformation photos, or just like today, I did a post. I needed to be somewhere in a half an hour. That was nearby. It was close. But I said, guess who's going to be able to do a complete workout and get 3 kids out the door and be on time to something that's in a half an hour? Thank you, 22-minute hardcore. You know, just little ways. Think about the people who is your perfect niche market for that. Don't even say like, I'm doing 22-minute hardcore necessarily. Just post about why it's awesome. Simple nutrition. It's obviously the shortest program we have in terms of get it done. There's no, the sandbag comes, but no weights are necessary. So it's all body weight. So that's really great for beginners through intermediate. There is a modifier. And then obviously anyone who's military in that sense, or maybe cross-training with the gym, this is another really great program to get them potentially interested in Shakeology. It's what, $8 more than just buying Shakeology by itself. You could even say, I know you've really been interested in Shakeology, and this is where you can do the buy Shakeology, get 22-minute hardcore for free if you want to. Obviously, that would be your marketing campaign. The $10, I send $10 gift cards to people from their choice of place. Usually Amazon or Target are the places I choose to do my $10 gift cards from. And so if someone signs up for a challenge pack, they get a $10 gift card from me. And so that's a really great way to, you know, think through of if someone's been wanting to try Shakeology. And then you can also get it with the performance pack. You don't have to get it just with Shakeology. So for people who have told you over and over they don't want Shakeology, the performance line's a really great way. It's $140. You get Recover and Energize. So for those gym goers in your life or that have been commenting on your posts, this is kind of an easy and great way to upsell them, because they're getting something they can use at the gym. They can get something really great that they are almost just using as a supplemental cross train, right? To get even better results in a really short amount of time. Who can't do something for 22 minutes? I mean, I say that about 30 minutes, but 22 minutes is even more. So start building that list, you know, keep that list moving with that. Okay, I saw some chats pop up about this and we can talk about that. Okay, so Christy's going to do one tonight. Awesome. Exactly, Brian. So people who like that type of training, my parents are both state troopers, and so I understand, like they went through something very similar, and exactly, this is what you should be talking about. Like if you have an active line of work where you need to stay in shape, but you don't have a ton of time, you know, specifically mention firefighters. I know we have a few firefighter spouses on here. You know, this is something that you can be talking about a lot, to have your husband or wife, if they're a firefighter or a policeman, you know, to talk about at work. Like, oh my gosh, this is so great. It's right up our alley as far as how we like to train. It's 22 minutes and you can get this really great stuff for free. So just think through that, build your list, and then start reaching out. Okay. I know, Erin, I wish we could get Performance Line with all of them too. I feel like they're moving in that direction. Obviously, our last 2 new programs released have those options. So I don't see why they wouldn't as we move forward, which I'm excited. I think on the cruise, Kathy mentioned this because she went to the Success Club trip last year. I did not. That they released a new program on the cruise, on the Success Club trip. I obviously am 99.9% sure it will be a Jericho and Joel type of program that will be fully released at Summit, but that's just my guess. Obviously, I'm not an expert in this. And if any of you have done Les Mills Pump or any of the Les Mills programs, those 2 are kind of like the superstars of those. I mean, or there's like maybe 1 or 2 other people who are very popular in the Les Mills program, but yeah, so it's a situation of those two. Those 2 are at every event. They were even at my leadership event in October. So I don't see why that this would be our next unroll. So maybe start looking at them, start following them on Instagram. You know, so maybe start even doing some of their programs on Beachbody On Demand, so that you can then be posting about it and people already kind of have these names in their head about what they might offer. I mean, they're both badasses, but Jericho just had a baby. She already looks fabulous. And she's doing like a yoga mixed with HIIT type of, program. And then Joel's the same kind of thing. Like, the MMA, he's engaged to, I think, the #1 rated fitness competitor model. I mean, it's insane. So obviously they both have really great backgrounds in the sense of reaching to a variety of people. Okay. So if anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself. Oh, I know, the recharge and the recover. It would be nice, but I think for like a price point, it might get too confusing. But I agree with you. I can mention that if you could pick, two out of the list, then that might be a better option. I agree with that. Does anyone have any questions? You can unmute yourself. Oh, Kelly, it's the same price. It's $140 for both Performance Line and Shakeology as a challenge pack. Okay, so no questions about hardcore. Sarah, oh, I just lowered your hand. You were still raising your hand. It was distracting. Does she need to talk to me still? What's going on? Okay, so let's get right into Facebook ads. So I personally have learned a lot from Practical Social Media University. If you're in my new coach chat, I posted it twice last week. The new presentation that they did with a coach who hits SC30 every single month. Sorry, Amy. I personally got a challenge pack through basically another family member is how I signed up through a different email. So I got it as a challenge pack because I wanted the sandbag too. I think the sandbag, I don't know, it makes for great photo ops. That's kind of why I kind of went with that also. So if you're just wanting to get the basic package, I would look into seeing if you really want that sandbag or not, because otherwise I don't think it's that much different. Okay. But, let me add really quickly. Doing the new programs might seem redundant, or it might not even seem up your alley. I hope I don't offend anyone by saying this, but Tony Horton's really not my favorite celebrity trainer. He has a really goofy sense of humor. I feel like he talks the whole time. I don't want him to talk the whole time. Like, that's just kind of my take on Tony Horton. Some people love him, so don't hate me for saying that. I'm just giving you my honest review. However, because I want my business to be successful, I can assure you that I'm going to do this program. I'm going to follow the guide, and I'm going to show what my before and afters are. Because just because he's not my cup of tea doesn't mean that it can't help a customer of mine who is struggling with very similar things to me, who might absolutely think Tony Horton is the coolest guy in the world. So to take a program off your list because you don't feel like it's your style, like PiYo, for example, I was like, no way, I'm an insanity girl. I'm not doing it. But then guess what? When I did PiYo, I was sore, and I was able to do it in the last trimester of my pregnancy. And I was able to help a lot of other people move through injuries that needed a program like that. So if you really do want your business to move forward, this is, it's a write-off, and it's another way for your business to grow. And it's another program to talk about besides 21-Day Fix. You will always be able to offer 21-Day Fix to your customers, but this is another way for them to see that you are variegated, I guess, in the sense. You are not just a one program only to get results, and you're not only helping people who can only use one program to get results too. Okay, so remember that. Alrighty. So back to Facebook. I learned a lot of what I know about ads through Practical Social Media. And I don't think you have to be a Practical Social Media person, personally to do great at Facebook ads. But I do think that before you start working on your blog or on Instagram or on all these other things, you need to see the value in how Facebook ads can grow your business specifically. I think other markets and other platforms are terrific. I don't think you should only limit yourself to Facebook. But what I do think you need to see is that Facebook is the only real medium that we have as coaches where we can say exactly who we want to look at our ads. Exactly. You can make it as specific or as non-specific as you want, but those other ones, you're just kind of throwing it up into the wind and hoping people see it through hashtags or through whatever. You're paying to play. And it can be something as easy as $1 a day. It doesn't have to be $50 a day. It can be $1 a day to have the people that you want that are just like you looking at your posts. Okay. So I can't encourage you enough to recognize the value of Facebook for a very small amount of money to get the people that are like you, well, so we'll talk about your niche market today, seeing exactly what you post. Because at the end of the day, it's the people who are just like you, that trust you, that either want to be best friends with you or are identical to you, that are going to be purchasing from you, because they'll be like, holy cow, she gets me, or holy cow, I want to be exactly where she is or he is. Okay. So think through it that way. I know Sandy's running another special. And by the way, when I talk about trainings, it's an investment in your business. Again, it's a write-off. And I feel like you should be investing anywhere from 10 to 20% of your income back into your training or your personal development or things of that nature. That's just kind of the numbers I've seen from top coaches. That's a number that kind of moves along with sometimes my budget of what's going on in my life. But I always try to invest at least that much back in my business through my own education. Because how can you grow and teach your coaches if you're not constantly growing yourself? And while there's amazing videos on YouTube, paying for something like this is, I feel like, just another way to really grow and expand. So Sandy Krakowski, I feel like she has another special going on right now where it's like buy one, you can share it with one other person until the 4th, but I would check her out. She does a lot of really great free, valuable content too. So if you're not on her email list, I would suggest getting on there. Okay, so she's one of the top MLM learners. I took this class about 6 months ago. It's called the Facebook Ads 2.0 training. And she's saying that you really do need to have your own website. I know this is something that we're all kind of iffy about. I personally have moved, I don't put very much content on my blog yet. I only use my blog as a landing page to send people for clean eating or for my challenge groups or for my new coach stuff, because this is a way, as soon as they fill out that form, I have all of their information. I have their name, their email, their phone number, their Facebook page. I have their goals. I have things they've struggled with. I have the date of when they did it. So then my list is constantly growing and I'm not losing people. You know, it's a really great way. So having your own blog, it can be free. It can be through, just a free like Blogspot or one of those things. But I would recommend having some form of a website. I went to Wix and paid, I think, $12 for my domain name. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive either, but there should be a place for you to send your customers outside of Facebook. You find them on Facebook, then you send them to a very specific place so then you can follow up with them. This is a little ahead of where I am right now, but just as a light bulb moment, Facebook has something that you can do. It's called remarketing. So if anyone clicks on that link in your Facebook ad, that sends them to my landing page or my blog or whatever it is, Facebook tracks that. And I don't know if any of you have noticed this, but for example, you'll probably start noticing it. If you go to Sandy's page through Facebook and you sign up for her email list, or Tony Robbins is another one that I'm a big fan of, all of a sudden you'll go to CNN.com or you'll go to another random website that has nothing to do with Sandy or Tony Robbins. And what is the ad that pops up in the middle of that? Sandy Krakowski, Tony Robbins. So they all of a sudden start finding ways to track you and what you're looking at, and then Facebook allows you to remarket yourself to them. So let's say someone's a busy dad. They click on it because, he clicks on, he's like, oh yeah, I want to do that. This is something I want to do. And then something happens, dinner burns or wife comes home mad or whatever, and he doesn't finish it. Facebook then will allow you to make a list of everyone who clicked on that, but then didn't complete the form. And then you can remarket your ads just to them. Like, these are people who have already took step one. They just didn't take the final step. So you can do all of this very specific stuff with your Facebook ads for $1 a day. You just do need to have that other landing page to send them to do that special trick. Okay? Okay, so Sandy's number one resource to making a really great ad, you guys are going to laugh at this, it's so simple. You go to Oprah.com. This is for all of you, okay? And she says you go to Oprah.com and you look through just the titles of what she has on her website and something that resonates with you. For example, one that she put down was Discover Hope and Joy in Everyday Life. That's your ad title. Okay, because who wouldn't be like, oh, I want to click on that. And then there's a picture of you or a picture of someone else that, is doing something that's up your niche's alley. Then it's like a conversation starter. It's an attention grabber. Or 5 ways to start chasing your dreams. Taglines like that are ideal ads. Or another secret she talks about is she calls it the read your mind secret. It's on Amazon. So you go into the subject, into like this book suggestions or whatever to really to search, and we'll talk about your niche market in a second. But then you go in and you type in there something that your niche market is interested in. For example, like autism. So if you have a child with autism, or you work with autistic kids at work, and you feel like as a teacher you can really help other teachers with that same niche market, then you start looking at other books that focus on autism, and then you start reading the reviews. So those reviews, those taglines of the reviews, those now become your ad titles, so that you're marketing to people that are just like you. Okay, so I have some training on niche market. We can talk about it really quickly, but really think of when you're laying in bed at night. What are the 5 things that keep you awake? What are those 5 things? Like, oh, I wish I could be a better mom, and I wish I had more time to make homemade meals from scratch, or I wish I had time to take care of myself a little bit better, or if you're really into do-it-yourself projects, or if your faith is really important to you, like, what are those things that you kind of think about a lot when you first lay down in bed? Those are the things you need to be talking about in your ads and in your niche market. And then also the things that you wish you could change about your life. Like, what drives you? What will drive your ideal customer? Is it wanting to look great in a bikini? Or is it wanting to just really be healthier and not be on their medication anymore? Like, who is your ideal customer? And so many people come into this and they're like, I want to work with men and women. I want to help people who want to lose 5 pounds and 500 pounds. I want to work with people who don't have kids and do have kids. While that's an ideal mentality, you will get nowhere if you're trying to help everyone. Your focus should be on a very specific target market. And then if other people see it and they like you and what you say resonates with them, I mean, there's like 1 billion people on Facebook now. I mean, come on. There will obviously be so many people that are very similar to you. To try to help 500 million people is insane. There's no way you can. There's no way 500 million people would look at you and think that you're interesting or want to buy from you. So to make your target market as specific as possible, that's really how you're going to find your ideal customer. Okay? So she said, you first of all, make that target market. Those highly targeted people will read your content. 15 to 20% will buy from you, and the other 80% will enjoy the content, which then helps build your community on your Facebook page. So she also talks about doing an opt-in, which we also call freemiums. So this gets them to your email list. Do video tips, with, hey, if you want more video tips like this, click here and I'll make sure to add you, or a PDF for like things we do, like 10 workouts moves you can do at home without any weights, or you can do in the park with your kids, or a free 5-day clean eating group. You'll get a PDF if you fill out this form, things like that. Marketing through email is really the way that you will grow your business. Okay, so don't forget that. Videos are huge. She mentioned some study, but it was basically if you post a video a day for 12 days, your engagement and Facebook sharing with what you do will be up over 200%. It doesn't have to be you. It can just be a viral video for something that other people are posting about, but it has to be consistent. I would say 12 days is the minimum. If you can, maybe challenge yourself. Can you post a video a day every day in March? Just one. Just something. I would recommend doing at least one of yourself, and maybe just once a week, but, otherwise just post one video per day. Okay. Then this gets people to your page, then they start seeing more content. The weight of a like, comment, or share of a video is 50% heavier than a regular post. She also recommended going to BuzzFeed and getting the food videos. Those are huge for engagement. Those are the videos that are being liked, commented, and shared on the most. Also do a Google search for most viral videos. Use those, okay? Because obviously you're not going to be using something that is against your niche, but the goal here is just to get people to your page. You're not using even ads for these, because the way Facebook works is if you get more of an organic reach, on your general comment, on your general posts and videos and things like that, you're shared more. So then when you do run an ad and pay, you're already getting more shares, period. And if your organic reach is higher, then Facebook will be more likely to even share what your paid reach is going to be. All right. So, okay, so let me see. Video once a day. Do not ever ask people to like, comment, or post. She said that's called baiting, and it's not allowed. It's a new Facebook rule. So if you say that specifically, Facebook can delete or even put you on probation. Okay. I don't know many people that have gotten caught for that, but I'm just want to put it out there so that you are not going to get in trouble. Make sure you're putting what Facebook wants in the news feed. So like great quote graphics, quality content is a big one. You know, just finding other articles and using it as inspiration for yours. I have a few coaches that are really good at this. And if you follow some blogs that you really like, I think it's good to, instead of just copying a link to a recipe, actually copy the recipe in text, screenshot the picture, make that your post, and then give them credit. You know, like I'm not saying to steal it, but I'm saying to, instead of just saying, here, go to this other page for a link to this recipe, copy the text, screenshot the photo, and then just give them credit in the actual text. Facebook will share that more than you just sharing a link. Okay. So the goal is, she says, is 400 highly targeted people, but that's really hard to get your numbers that low. So I've heard anything recommended from 40,000 to 400,000 is your target market. Okay. So she says, don't have a contest to grow your page. This is not actually targeting your niche. And then there's a Facebook ad template that I'll share with you, but she also recommends to never boost a post unless you have great organic reach. Okay, so this is like two different schools of thought. One is, and I'll tell you from my point of view, one is I only sometimes want to pay for my clean eating group advertisements and my challenge group or my coaching call to action. Okay, those are the three that I'm like, no matter what, I need to pay for those. I need more people to see those, right? Her mentality on that is, and those don't get great organic reach, right? Like when we post about those things, how many people do we get liking and commenting on those? Typically not a ton. So her thought process is, when you have a really great recipe, or when you have, like Meg Wazinski has one right now for her peanut butter brownie or something, right? Like I'm sure you're noticing in your news feed other random things that say sponsored, and it's because those posts had great organic reach and then that coach chose to boost it. So now Facebook is like, wow, this is a really great post. I'm going to show this 100 times more than I would as a coaching call to action that someone might be paying 100 times more for. While they're not exactly seeing a post that is directly growing your business, they now are liking and commenting on your page. And how often do you go to another page and then scroll through and see what other content they have? So think through it that way. I'm not going to tell you to spend $50 on a brownie recipe ad, but I am going to tell you to, if something has a really great organic reach, then think about boosting it with a specific audience of who you want your coaches to be, who you want your ideal client, your niche market to be. Okay? So that's it. Always, always, always upload to Facebook. This is something that I do my best on. She's talking in regards to third-party uploading systems. So Buffer, Hootsuite, things like that. If you can upload it perfectly on your page and you know you have time, you will get much more reach than if you use a third-party scheduler. But at the same time, you have to kind of weigh your time is valuable. And I think getting 10 posts a day, this is, of course, other things that I've read, getting 10 posts a day on your like page, you know, that range are essential. So if you're going to do one upload, direct upload, versus 10 through Buffer, you will get more engagement and more reach if you do the 10 through Buffer. Okay, so just think through it that way. Okay, let's move forward now. Okay. How to write better ads. Content is the goal. So fresh content. Number one mistake is they only focus on their ads. You don't focus on your page. This is something I'm also working on. So the number one thing we want with Facebook ads is our daily regular content needs to be in alignment with your niche market. The number two rule is when you do ads, you have to make sure that the content on your page is things people will like, share, and comment on. So when you do run an ad and people start scrolling through your page for other things, you want it to be things that they're going to like, share, comment on. So really great engagement. So I've posted that graphic before. Let me screen share so you guys can see it. But this is what I think Brian asked something about not having a like page. You can't do any of this stuff just from a personal page. So can everyone see that photo? You can zoom in if you can't see it, but it says, 3 times a day you should do pictures, 1 lifestyle picture, 1 quote picture, 1 product picture. Obviously using stock photos is something I will never recommend. So if you're doing a program or if you're drinking your Shakeology, make it you. Don't make it up a box or just a shaker cup. Make you part of your product, okay? 3 times a day, inspirational posts, things that make you think better, feel better, and things that come naturally to you. Don't try to imitate something that you are not. 2 times a day, random and strategic questions like, what is your favorite color? That one's really a simple one. But guess what? How many people do you think will comment on that? Right? It's silly, but this is how Facebook rewards you, is for the more people that see what you're doing, they show your other content too. You don't need to have it be that simple. I mean, we're not a kindergarten classroom, but sometimes little things like that, like I asked about pull-ups last night. It's the most engagement I've gotten in a few weeks. Just think through things in your life that you're like, oh gosh, I wish I could figure that out. If you are going to ask a question that's controversial, my tip to you is to stay out of it. Post it, don't comment. Like everyone's, whether you think it's the worst opinion ever or the best opinion ever. Do not comment, do not engage, just like everyone's, okay? So if you are going to say something about, I don't know, Trump or GMOs and Monsanto or whatever your hot ticket button items are, don't engage, okay? Because your page is your business now. And while you might think you hate people that love Trump or you hate people that hate Trump, whatever you want it to say, you don't need to be the polarizing factor, okay? Let people duke it out on your page without you involved. Hard for me because I tend to have some really strong opinions, but it's something that since I've worked on, I notice my page is not as much of like a, I don't know, parenting debate or, political debate. It's just a place where you can come and you can label your opinion and then they can get into it. Okay, great advice. So 2 times a day, resources, and then engagement. This is something Sandy talks about all the time, that if you're posting and you're not going back and actually engaging with people, you are losing. What is the point? Why are you even wasting a single dollar on an ad if you're not going back and you're not commenting or liking on every single person's comment or like on your page? Okay, so she's saying it can be 5 minutes. If you do your post in the morning, hop on there for 5 minutes, scroll through, like, comment, reply. Do that at lunch, do that 2 to 3 times a day. Set your timer. Don't let it take more than 5 minutes of your time, but you have to be replying to people. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and money. And she says you shouldn't even be in business on social media if you're not willing to do that. Okay. So again, this is Sandy's training that I'm sharing with you. You can take it as you will. So she says number 3 is less promotional content. 10 to 15% directs you to buy. 10 to 15% should direct you to something to read. The other 70% has to keep you on Facebook and looking at what your content is. Okay, so if you want, I'm planning on doing this. It will be random, but I will be doing one probably next week because I have my kids a lot full-time this week. So I'll post something probably in Fierce Focus Tribe just to start. The first 5 people that respond, I'll do a full Facebook analysis of what their posting is, their strengths and weaknesses, things like that. Okay, so just kind of keep your eye on the group. Again, I'll do it more than once. I plan on doing it once a week. I would encourage you to do this with your downline too, or even if you only have one friend on Facebook, reach out and say, hey, pretend like I'm a stranger coming to your page. What are the first 5 to 10 posts you see? What does it make you think of me? How would you describe me just from those first 5 to 10 posts? Because they're probably not going to scroll much farther than that. So think through, scroll back. What are your last 5 to 10 posts? Lindsay Matway has the advice of if she has her 5, right? Like faith, food, family, fitness, fashion. Okay, those are her 5. And if she goes through her last 10 to 15 posts and she doesn't have 3 of each of those, or she has 3 Shakeology posts in a row, she actually will delete them because she doesn't want people coming to her page and only seeing Shakeology. So think through that. What are your 5? They don't have to be all one letter. It doesn't have to be catchy. But what are your 5 things that you're going to post about regularly? What are the 5 things your niche market thinks about? And as you go to your page, I'm not perfect at this. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to talk about this. But that should be your 5 posts every single time, rotating through those 5. And different ways of talking about it, right? But the main mentality should be those 5 topics. Okay, so that's another one. As you do your ad, start looking at some certain numbers. We'll talk about this specifically, but you should have a click-through rate higher than 3.7. That's what Sandy says. Otherwise, you should delete it. Also, Facebook is now rewarding you for people liking your post within that basically that test market or that perfect market. So if you have a relevance score of 10, if you have anything from 7 to 10, they give you a ranking of 1 to 10. If anything is below 7 after the first day, you need to delete it. Okay, it's not even worth spending your money. I don't think if you think it's the most perfect ad ever, you need to delete it or keep the ad. Think of a different market to a different audience to market it to. You're wasting your time if within a day it's not above a 7. Okay, so let's keep going. Engagement is everything. I already said that. Sharing, commenting, liking, interacting. So let's now talk about, now I have a video that's using PowerPoint from before they changed it. I'm planning on doing another video that will show you guys how to use this with a new PowerPoint. It's 9:40. I'm not sure if we'll get to it tonight. I plan on getting to it, but let's just go really quick through this. When you're thinking about building your audience, it doesn't have to just be like clean eating moms. Just talk about my niche market, right? Like, I don't know, mom of little ones, baby wearing home birth. I have ACL injury in there now. I have a variety of things, okay? You can't just have that. You have to think about what are the things that you like to do when no one is really around. So for example, you can put Scandal, or like, I really like this new silly show called The Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, or The Bachelor, or The Walking Dead, or Oprah Magazine. Things like she says, for example, like Runner's World, Biggest Loser, target pages that are nothing like you, but they may have similar interests, okay? So make sure when you're thinking of that, think outside of the box a little bit. Like, what magazines do you pick up that aren't necessarily fitness related? What foods do you eat? What other hobbies do you have? Like red wine, whatever, things like that aren't just talking about how you live in a perfect life and you work out perfectly every day and you eat perfectly every day, okay? Think through that. And those should be the other things when you put interest in, that's where those go, okay? And the other thing she suggests is going to those pages and pay attention to what they're posting about and which are getting the most engagement, what recipes are getting the most engagement. Guess what? There's more content for you. You're going to grab the text, you're going to grab the picture, you're going to give them credit, or you're going to change it and tweak it a little bit. But those things are going to get more engagement on your page than just on, the Biggest Losers page. Okay. She really likes this other site called Sevenly. She talks about Sevenly a lot. She recommends to always do bid for clicks. So that's an engagement one. Always put people that are not connected to you. Always choose, for our business, we would only choose United States and Canada because those are the only countries we can, ship to. How to pull people to your page. Make sure you have the same image on both Facebook and on your personal blog. If basically your avatar needs to be the same. And also if you're running that ad, for example, say for clean eating, and then when they go to your landing page, they see a completely different photo, that throws people off. Always have it be very consistent back and forth. Pull copy from your actual sales page headline for your Facebook ad, header. The call to action buttons are huge. Sign up, if you use that sign up button, which you're allowed to do through your like page, that had the highest engagement, the highest click-through rate. So you start using those buttons. If you're not, you're missing out. Number 2 is pin it to top. So if you are going to do a new ad for whatever reason, just it's the same as with on your personal page. You can pin your ads to the top after you do them. Number 3, do a new audience, or you're going to potentially keep, I can talk more about audiences in a second, but the way I have it set up in my other video that I did on this is basically the first thing you're going to do is do one ad, and so one campaign, and then where you change is the ad set. So you're going to do, if you look on Power Editor, you'll be able to see it a little bit better, but you'll do the same campaign. So you'll call it, for example, like March recruitment. Let's call, you know what, should I just do this? Does it make it a little easier? I'll keep talking, so I'll just do this so I can show it to you. But so your campaign will be, for example, March coaching engagement or March recruiting. And then your ad set is where you change your audience. So you'll do 3 different ad sets. So you'll say audience 1, audience 2, audience 3. And that's where you'll tweak them a little bit. Like maybe one can be focused more on your moms, one can be more focused on your Christian athletes, another one can be more focused on like your do-it-yourself crowd, whoever your market kind of will be. And then the last one with the actual ad, you'll use the same ad for all 3 of those different audiences. And you'll just spend $1 on each of them. So that's $3 that you're spending. And then the next day you'll come back and look and you'll see which audience set responded the best to that ad, and you'll turn off the other 2, and then you could potentially even add more money. So that is your ideal audience for that ad set. I recommend doing that for every single ad you do in a perfect world, just because then you can see really what you're saying, if it's reaching the people that you want it to. Okay, this is a quick way to do it. So she also recommends sending out emails at least 2 to 3 times a week during promotion. This is that next level, but as you build your email list with your landing page, this is where you can then remarket to those same people who are already interested in you but may not have bought something from you. Let me see if I can flip through this. I'm not going to talk about, okay, I am going to talk about dark posts. It's 9:46. Okay, so dark posts. Has anyone heard of dark posts? Okay, I have a couple. Okay, so dark posts are basically where Facebook allows you to run ads that aren't on your page. Why would you want to do that, right? The reason you would want to run a dark post ad is for something like I just talked to you about for the 3 different audiences. You wouldn't want to have the same ad show up 3 times on your page, right? So the way it works with dark post ads is that you basically can run as many different audiences and campaigns and tweak it and play with it as many times as you want, and it will never show up on your page. So the way to do a dark post ad is in Power Editor, and you can create it right in there. So you can either create your ad from a post you've already done, which is typically how I initially do it. So I go and, like, let's say I do a call to action post for coaching, or something does have really great engagement. I go through Power Editor and I just tell it to grab that post, and then it uses that as my ad. I personally don't ever really use the boost button. I feel like it's a waste of your money. There's all these different schools of thoughts on it, but in general, if you're going to boost a recipe for $5, fine, use that. Make sure you always choose an audience. Otherwise you really are wasting your money. But if you do want to make it more than with more than one audience, always just go into Power Editor, create the ad through that post, and then you can make it very specific, and you can kind of track it a lot better. Gives you a lot more in Power Editor. It'll show you specifically. Okay, let me see if I can pull it up here. So I'm just not talking about just random semantics to you guys. Okay, let me see if I can share. Bear with me here. There we go. Okay, so this is what Power Editor looks like. You cannot do this on Safari. You have to only do this on Google Chrome, or Firefox, okay? So Power Editor will not work on Internet Explorer or Safari. It will only work on these 2 websites. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Automatically, it will pull your pages. I don't know why it's running me through this. But so the first thing you'll do, let's say I do want to manage, like, let's just start with create a campaign. This is like what I just talked about. So let's say I want to call it March Coaching. So here I want page post engagement. I want people to see what I'm saying and what my ad is and to respond to it. Okay, and so then you can choose an ad set. Because we're going to do 3 different audiences, we'll just say audience 1, and then create new ad, and then we'll call this one March call to action coaching. So this is a very basic way to set it up. Okay, so now it's gone into my campaign, and now you can click here into ad sets. See how it's kind of set up like on that tiered system? And so audience 1, your daily budget. There's 2 different things about the budget you can do. You can either have a lifetime budget, and obviously I'm not going to be spending $350, but you have to do a minimum of at least, it used to be $1 a day. I think it might be $5 a day now. But what's nice about the lifetime budget is that you can tell it's specifically when you want it to show to your niche market. So if you want to go into your Facebook page, I'm not sure how many of you have looked at this and played with it, but you can see from your Facebook page analytics when people are looking at your page and when they're engaging the most. So look at that. Let me see if I even have that up. But anyways, just look at it. If you have a Facebook page, go into the analytics and see when people are looking. So if you use a lifetime budget, let's say, for example, of $10, and you want to set a very specific time, like you always have to put on when your end date is. So let's just say we run it through today through then. And then you can run ads all the time, which if you have a daily budget, that's the only option they'll let you have. But if you do a lifetime budget, then you can run ads on a schedule. And I know, for example, most of the people are looking at my ads between 8 and 10 p.m. or just my page in general. And Sundays, Fridays, and Tuesdays are my highest engagement, for another example. So I would say I only want to spend my money when my niche market is looking at my page or people who are like them. So guess what? I'll only show my ads, I'm not running the ad on Tuesday, so it won't let me do that. But so for example, on Thursdays, I'll only run it between 8 and 9 p.m. or 8 to 10 p.m. So that's another good reason to look through your page if you want to be specific, and then you can run ads and get more for your money instead of just kind of throwing it to the wind. Okay. Now let's choose our audience. Again, location. We're going to do a new audience. See, I have all these different audiences saved about which ones work best. But it'll be a new audience, edit audience. And this is where we kind of talked about so the initial reach is a lot of people. So we want United States. If you want to choose Canada, you can. If you have a very specific post to, for example, like Michigan people, you would say Michigan here. And then it will only show your ad to people who live in Michigan. So say, for example, it'll be something about your college alma mater, or you were part of a sorority or fraternity and something big is coming up, but you want to reach all of those people who have ever gone to that sorority or fraternity. This is a way to have a very specific niche market, okay? So Michigan is an option. I recommend only helping people who are in general the same age range as you, plus or minus, 5 to 10 years. I guess you can kind of think about it. For example, like a 20-year-old girl is probably not going to have a ton of interest in my page. So, think through really what you're posting the most about in your niche market, and that should be your age range. I used to hear to only select women, but then I heard the random advice that a lot of men now, like especially a lot of husbands, especially and for moms or wives, I guess, who are posting about this kind of stuff. If you choose all, but then you have a very specific test group and your audience defined really well, a lot of husbands will actually see this and show it to their wives. Okay, so it's something to think about. It's your choice. Play around with it. I don't put anything in here because in general, if you put English, there's just US. Detailed, this is where you can go into, if you click on browse here, your demographics. One thing I will share with you, and I'm not trying in any way to rule a certain market out, but in general, when I am paying for it, I do put an income value in, because, you know, someone in general who is, you know, making less than $30,000 a year as a family, they might struggle a little bit more, you know, paying for Shakeology, for example. Not that they can't, I'm just saying this is more of a generality. So, and Facebook doesn't know how much exactly you make, but I typically, you know, put anywhere from 75 to 200,000. And you seem to get more quality of people who are liking and engaging on your page. So, again, not saying anything in particular about people who make less than $75,000, because I was there when we signed up, but it was a situation of, if I'm paying in general, I do want to be targeting people that probably can afford what our products are without having to not be able to pay for their other grocery bills. Okay. So, demographics, if you click on browse, you can be very specific. So for example, I don't usually do as much of interest in the map, but more, or behaviors I don't do, but demographics, you can have, you know, parents, you can have people who are, you know, married, different types of work at home, work from home, education. I typically do put some levels of education in there. You can choose very specific alma maters, like I mentioned before. And then here is also where you add things like, for example, baby wearing, you know, Shape Magazine, The Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, like Scandal, you know, things like that. If those are shows that you like, things that you like to do, you know, do you love margaritas, whatever, you know, these are the things that you can put in there. They don't have to be very specific. Like, they won't only target people who love margaritas, but it will, you know, look at anyone who likes margaritas and then run them through the rest of this list to see if they're a good candidate. So do you see how, like, right now my potential reach is 15,000 people. So for people living in Michigan, 18 to 65, you know, I didn't change the age of that, but let's make it a little more specific so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. That like baby wearing and Shape Magazine, and 13,000 people. Okay. So imagine, of those 13,000 people in Michigan that have very similar, you know, interests as me, they're going to show this to those 13,000 people. And I'm only going to probably pay $5 to $10 for it. It's so specific how you can get people looking at what you need. So now you're going to do this 3 different times. Okay. You're going to do 3 different ad sets, and that's an easy way to add an ad set. You do right here. And then down here is where you go to your ads, and you can create your ad in here. I have this, what I have, don't look at this because this is confusing if you don't, if you don't have a landing page. So do not track conversions. Select page. Why is it not showing up? Sorry guys. Oh boy. Okay, never mind. Why? Back to my ads. I think I have to pick back on my page, but basically from there, I don't know why this is not audience 1. Sorry, ads. And then once you do it, then you actually, then you'll tell Facebook to review the changes, and then they'll tell you whether or not it fits its guidelines. Certain guidelines, you can't use any, you know, language that could be offensive to people. You can only have words on 20% of your picture or less, things like that. Okay, so I feel like this is so much content, and I'm sorry about that. Let me see if there's anything else on Sandy's training that I should just tell you. Check. She also says when you pull up pages, like make sure to check if people own their homes, because you know that then in general they can then afford what you're doing. You know, just think, don't target people exactly on the places that they go. So for example, a niche market is you're a mom of small children. You go to Parenting Magazine, and then you go to see the other interests from what people have on Parenting Magazine. So you can search under their followers and then use those pages that they like as interests to then add to yours. Okay. Like I said, what else is your niche doing? Don't just target people who are health and fitness related. First videos, then blog posts. That's what she says. Okay, so that's what we've got for now. No, it was a lot, and you can ask me any questions you want. I will be doing a video maybe tonight. See how energized I am about how to specifically use Power Editor instead of that quick version I gave you right then. I'll give you a very specific how to do it with one ad, creating the ad as a dark post with 3 different audiences in one campaign, and then showing you how to do that. So I'll include the video, the link to that once I get that done. But let me jump in the chat really quick. Let me see. I already had a customer ask if he talks a lot. Christy, it's so true. I'm sorry. Like, Tony's just not my guy. I have a really inappropriate story to share the first time I met him, so I won't share that on here. But if you do want to know, just talk to me personally. He's more down to business. I know I did it today. Stephanie and I agreed. He wasn't as chatty, maybe because he's with a bunch of military people. I don't know. So Brian says, if you use a page and not your personal profile, you can schedule posts through Facebook. Yeah, so you can. You do have to go on there and do it that way. The reason I personally love Buffer is that I can do one post and post it to 5 groups all at the same time at the ideal time. So it takes a few steps away, but if it's not being seen as much, you kind of have to weigh it. Okay, so who want to talk about your dirty hair? Exactly. But think about it. They've seen your post for your dirty hair and they've scrolled through and now they're watching you. I know I have even a few coaches on here who were like, yeah, you asked me and I never commented or but I saw it. And I just learned this too. If you send a message to someone, even if you haven't talked to them in 2 years and you don't like or comment anything on their page, you send a message to them, guess what? You're going to start showing up in their newsfeed because Facebook has made a connection between the 2 of you. Okay. So you just starting to form, even if it's about your dirty hair, guess what? Your other posts will start showing up in their newsfeed. So you making that extra step to say, whatever, you can make a joke about your dirty hair. It can be about something else. But your post that did get a lot of engagement, starting messages with those people will then, again, get your other posts to show up in front of them. We all get crickets for our call to actions or our workout posts. I mean, the clean eating groups are free, so I tend to get, a lot more. What I have noticed since I've moved to a landing page, people don't comment or post on my actual post, but I'll get, 20 people to fully fill out a 20 question form. So they don't want to do it on Facebook where everyone can see, but the landing page that just I can see, they'll fill out, and you then have a quality customer. I get, I don't want to overestimate, but I would say at least 90% of my new customers all come from Facebook ads and my like page. And I don't get a ton of engagement on my like page. If any of you go there right now, it's really embarrassing. I have to be honest with you. This is something I plan on working on when I have more quality time. So I don't get a ton of engagement, but I do get a lot of people messaging me and filling out my forms for my landing page and my call to action buttons. So maybe they're liking my comments or my posts, but they just don't want to, or they like it internally, but they don't click a button. So just think about what your content is. It's something it's on my list to work on, but again, this is something, my list is always big. How many keywords do you typically choose? You choose as many to get your, Kelly, that's a good question. You typically choose as many to get your target market between 40 and 400,000. So you can kind of tweak it that way. And you can change your audiences. You can, do one audience with 400,000. You can do one with 13,000 and see what works best for you. Start tracking. Facebook will help you do that. Okay, so no more chats. I know I talked a lot. I know I threw a lot at you. I'll do that video for you guys so you can see exactly how Power Editor works. There are some really great videos that show you exactly what to do on YouTube. Just type in how to do Power Editor with test audience or Power Editor dark post, and you'll see professionally done ones instead of me, flying around like squirrel and shiny objects kind of a situation. Any questions? There's a ton to talk about with Facebook ads, but if you don't have any questions, I understand. No. Okay. Well, so I need to get a shirt for Stephanie already. And so that means I'm going to get another tank or shorts or something for whoever else is left on here, and I'll get them ordered. So you probably won't get them for a little bit just because I still have to order them from the site. But I'll be giving another wear and share. Okay, so let's see. 17 participants. Woo woo. Okay. So I just scroll back and forth. This person. Brianne already won. Okay, you can't win twice right now. You got a headband 2 weeks ago. Let's see who else is next. Lindsay Delaney. Woo, Lindsay. Where are you? I need. So Lindsay, will you message me your address, and let me write your name down. So, because I admittedly am really bad about getting mailing out. Like, it's my frog. I'll have a pile of like 30 things, and then I've spent all freaking day doing my labels and everything. But I will get it to you, so don't lose faith in me. But I will promise I'll do it. Okay, so Lindsay, make sure to message me. Congratulations. I think is this the first call you've been on? You have to unmute yourself, or at least just chat something. Either way, thanks, Jackie. I know it's a lot of information. Thanks for jumping on. Lindsay went on her first call. Wow, big day. Okay, well, tell everyone in your downline to get on. If this is their first call, maybe they'll win next time too. But if you've also been on every time, thank you. I know I tend to just run with a lot of information. So next week, I don't even know what we're talking about. I know Sarah might be coming up soon. If you're a diamond coach and you're on here, I want you to sign up within the next few weeks for a call. You're not getting out of it. If you haven't done it yet, I'm watching you. I see you. Sign up. Amy signed up. Good work. And yeah, otherwise, if you have no questions, message me if you don't feel comfortable asking here. And